Will rain threaten the double for Kyle Larson? We've got the latest Hall of Fame class, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. got fined, as well as some of his teammates. Let's get into it. Coming up next. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing good today. All right, looking like rain is going to be an issue for Kyle Larson trying to pull off the double, that being running the Indy 500 and the Coke 600 at Charlotte. Looking like Indianapolis is going to have at least a chance of weather or weather system. So in that scenario, it looks like the latest that Kyle Larson could leave would be like 4:15, 4 o'clock, somewhere in there. Now, if he doesn't start the race, in that case, he would be able to have somebody fill in and race the race for him. But if he starts the race, he has to finish the race under current IndyCar rules. If he starts the race, he has to finish the race. He can't sub in a driver like you could back in the day when I guess some other drivers could have subbed somebody in. I think Robbie Gordon subbed somebody in 1 year, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, he has to start the race, or somebody else has to start the race. Whoever starts the race has to finish it. So he's probably either praying that they get the race going on time or that it gets washed out completely and he can run it on Monday. Otherwise, rain might knock out his attempt to do the double, so we'll have to keep an eye on that as it goes forward. Of course, this is only Wednesday, but right now the weather is not looking great. NASCAR has released its latest list of Hall of Fame drivers and pioneers to get into the Hall of Fame, and that list includes Ralph Moody, who of course was of Holman Moody. He bought the remainder of Ford's stuff when Ford stopped factory backing teams in NASCAR. He bought the remainder of their stuff by mortgaging basically an airplane that he owned to get. He got the equivalent of $100,000 or $130,000 in today's money, and bought the rest of Ford's equipment. And it was history from there, because 96 wins in the Cup Series, 2 championships with David Pearson, and drivers like Joe Weatherly, Bobby Allison. Just go down the list of Fireball Roberts drove for him. Just go down the list of people that drove for Holman and Moody before they separated or whatever. So great team. So that is why he is in the Hall of Fame. And fun fact, he served in World War II under General Patton. Didn't know that until I looked it up for this episode. So that's a pretty cool factoid as well. Then you've got Carl Edwards, 13 years in the Cup Series, where he got 28 wins, 72 wins across all series, being Truck, Xfinity, and the Cup Series. And of course, 2011, where he would have been the NASCAR Cup champion if we had a system that made sense. But because we've got the playoff system, it ended up being a tie, and the tiebreaker went to Tony Stewart. So Carl Edwards, definitely another deserving candidate on this list. And really, it feels like it's relatively early, but I guess he hasn't been racing in quite some time. But yeah, feels early, but Carl Edwards in the Hall of Fame, which is kind of crazy. And then, of course, you've got the Rooster, Ricky Rudd, 788 consecutive starts. He had the record for that until Jeff Gordon broke it. 905 career starts overall, which puts him second all-time to the king, Richard Petty. Richard Petty, the only driver with more starts than Ricky Rudd. He also had 6 wins as an owner-driver and 23 wins overall. 16 of those seasons in a row he had a win, so that is a pretty impressive streak as well. So Ricky Rudd, the Rooster, the Iron Man, whatever you want to call him, definitely well deserving of the Hall of Fame. And then finally today, we're talking about Ricky Stenhouse Jr. again for the 4th day in a row. So over this fight, but here you see from Jeff Gluck, NASCAR issues the penalties from Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Kyle Busch fight. Stenhouse Jr. $75,000 fine. Stenhouse Jr. suspended indefinitely. That's the hard card I was talking about on the live stream that got pulled, that would probably get pulled as we see today. It did get pulled. The JTG mechanic Clint Myrick suspended 8 races. JTG tuner Keith Matthews suspended 4 races. No penalties for Kyle Busch. So there has been a lot of backlash from this for several reasons. One is like, how come, Kyle Busch and his team didn't get suspended? That's because they were at their, not necessarily pit stall, but where they parked their hauler. They were where they parked their hauler at. And so they didn't go seeking the issue. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and his crew came seeking the issue. Like I said, in late models, that's pretty much how it goes. If you go to somebody else's pit, you're always going to be in the wrong. So that's why and the RCR crew, they were just more or less trying to break it up. That guy was pushing people off and doing it pretty easily. If he wanted to hurt some people, I think he really could have. Talking about Mr. White there for the RCR gang, you better use both hands if you get in a fight with him. Definitely don't want to have one behind your back. But yeah, that is why the RCR crew was not penalized or anything like that. I was surprised, not necessarily surprised that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. got a fine, because we've seen other drivers get fined for stuff like this. But and NASCAR is inconsistent. Sometimes they get fined for throwing punches, sometimes they don't. I don't think Ross Chastain got fined for throwing a punch, but I know when Ty Gibbs threw his punch, he was fined for his on-track behavior. So once again, inconsistent from NASCAR, and I mean, what more can you say about it? So I thought Ricky Stenhouse Jr. would get fined. I didn't think it would be $75,000. So I guess they're sending a strong message that they don't want the crews to get involved, because I don't think that's necessarily, even though it's for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., it's just one of those fines that they're just sort of throwing out there to say, hey, we don't want to see this again. That being said, they have promoted it every single minute of the week, which has led to some criticism. This from Daniel Suarez: if it's so wrong, then why was it all over NASCAR social channels? We should be allowed to show our emotions. I don't get it. To which was responded to by Kelly Earnhardt Miller: I just said the same thing to a friend, Daniel. NASCAR has exploited the hell out of it, and then this. So several people not happy with it, basically saying NASCAR is being hypocritical. They're going to, get their money's worth out of it as far as promotion and coverage and things like that, but then they're going to fine him $75K. And then, of course, there is another perspective on it from Bozy Tatarovic here. I am not sure why everyone is suddenly surprised by this. NASCAR has used footage from dozens of incidents in the past to promote races. Why is everyone only now pointing it out? To which he has a point, and something that I've said numerous times on this channel. They will find somebody for something, but they will use it to promote the events. How many times have you seen the Matt Kenseth, Joey Logano thing? And of course, we know that Matt Kenseth got his fine and suspension for that particular ordeal, but NASCAR doesn't stop showing it to hype up things. So that's just probably, in my opinion, the most famous example. But NASCAR has always done this, and so I don't think that they're immune from the criticism. I saw somebody else tweet out that NASCAR social media is run by a different section of the company than the NASCAR sanctioning body, which I think that's a super weak argument, in my opinion, because if that's your rationale, that's kind of like saying, just because NASCAR's name on it doesn't mean you can blame NASCAR for it. That's like saying the President of the United States is not responsible for what the United States military does. If NASCAR's name is on it, NASCAR is ultimately responsible for it, because they have people in place to get the final say on whether or not those things go out. So I thought that was a fairly weak argument, but it is. I just wanted to give everybody's perspective on it and my opinion on the matter. And dear God, please let this be the end of it. Please let this be the end of the Ricky Stenhouse Jr. one punch to Kyle Busch ordeal, because this is day 4. This is day 4. I'm really tired of talking about it, so hopefully we have something else to talk about. So once again, instead of talking about the Hall of Fame or talking about Joe Logano winning the All-Star race, or talking about how the tires didn't work at North Wilkesboro, or just continuing to talk about Brad Keselowski joining that owner-winner group, we're talking about some drama. So whatever sells tickets, I guess, is sort of what NASCAR is going with here. All right, that's all I got for you on this one. If you made it this far, I would love to have your subscription. If not, I'll just keep on making these things if you're already subscribed. I appreciate you all as well. If you got a question, comment, or anything like that, I try to get to as many of them as I can, so leave it down in the comments section. And if you want to help out the channel, visit the merch store. The link is in the description. We got t-shirts, stickers, hats, and sweatshirts just in time for the summer. And other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.